This week on Extracts, a womanizing Greek, a numbers geek. At least neither are computers this week.
It's the Gods episode.
Welcome to Extracts, a podcast where we introduce each other to our fandoms one episode at a time. I'm your host, Erin Cline, an X-Files enthusiastic apologist.
And I'm your other host, Stella Cheeks, a forever slut for Star Trek the original series. Each podcast, we pick 2 episodes that fit a cinematic theme, watch them together, and then record our feelings.
Our theme this week is gods.
Today we have a, quote, literal god in this one. Honestly shocked that there aren't more Greek references in Star Trek TOS, but then again, Gene hated religion, so I don't know. Anyways, I love this episode because the actor who plays Apollo is so extra, and as a queer kid from the 90s and 2000s, you bet I had those big-ass mythology books. Give me all the Greeks.
And for the X-Files, this is the Season 9 episode where Burt Reynolds is God. Get it? He's God. All right, anyway. Are you ready for digging in there, Mr. Spock?
Sure.
Am I seeing things?
Not unless I am too. Captain, that thing's a giant hat.
And now for a quick-ish episode summary. The Enterprise is orbiting Pollux 4, an unremarkable planet. Unremarkable until they are snatched by a huge glowing green hand, rendering the ship immobile. A humanoid in laurel leaves appears and demands that the ship crew beam down to its planet. Kirk is like, pass, let my ship go, but the hand slowly crushes the ship until Kirk relents. The landing party, including Lieutenant Carolyn Palamos, an expert in Greek mythology, beam down to the planet outside what looks like an ancient Greek temple. There they meet the humanoid who calls himself Apollo. Yes, that Apollo. He informs the party that he will not allow them to leave and renders all communication to the Enterprise non-functional. You see, he needs worshippers, and since their ancestor worshipped him, they can do it too. In exchange, he'll provide them with all their needs and desires. Great, right? Wrong. Kirk is obviously like, girl, let us go, you pathetic excuse for a god, but Apollo ain't listening because he has eyes for Lieutenant Palamos, which sucks for Scotty because he also has eyes for her. Scotty tries to shoot Apollo with a phaser, which obviously doesn't work because, duh, God. But after Apollo destroys the phaser and shocks Kirk and Scotty, he exerts his power and he seems tired and depleted. But he still has the energy to disappear with Lieutenant Palamos, much to the landing party's chagrin. Kirk and McCoy speculate that the Greek gods of old might have actually been powerful aliens that were worshipped like gods. Ancient aliens, anybody? But without worship, what would happen? The crew, mostly Chekhov, credit where credit is due, come up with a plan to test the limits of Apollo's power and try to overwhelm him. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Palamos, Carolyn, to the gods she thinks are cute, learns that Apollo does indeed subsist on love and worship and that he is the last of their kind, which, Apollo, really? His bitch ass feels like he would be the first to go. Anyways, Kirk's plan to provoke Apollo doesn't quite work because it's dumb and involves them just laughing and being stupid, but mostly because Carolyn gets involved and saves Kirk's life, which he is sad about. She just wants everybody to get along. How very space seed of her. Kirk takes her aside and reminds her of her duty and that she must use her sexuality to reject Apollo and save them from slavery. She agrees. That's what he says. He says,
I know.
She agrees, but reluctantly. Back on the ship, Spock and the crew have located the power source for their force field and find a way to communicate, and more importantly, to fire phasers. Lieutenant Palamos is mean to Apollo, telling him that she's just not into you, bro, which breaks his heart and causes him to throw a temper tantrum via thunderstorm, which is the perfect target for Spock to destroy the power source. Accepting defeat, Apollo addresses his fellow gods amongst the wind, admitting that he was wrong and that it is time to join them as he fades away into oblivion. Carolyn is upset having lost her divine love. Even Kirk and McCoy express regret having to kill the last of the gods since we owe so much to the ancient Greeks. But oh well, back to space. More gods to kill, more civilizations to save. Heavy quotations. What did you think of this episode?
I think I liked it. I don't know. I thought that the acting in it was very good. I thought that Carolyn was excellent. I thought her costumes were great. All her interactions with both Kirk and also with Apollo, and then the having to run in a circle over and over scene while she's being attacked by a thunderstorm. It was silly, but she's
trapped.
But she did a very good job with it. I thought Scotty was great, although out of character a little bit in a way that I mean,
yes and no. Anytime he's around or has a crush on a girl, he acts like a ding dong. He does that in Wolf in the Fold. He does it in
even in
an episode
Expense
we
of the
haven't
Ship.
seen. Yeah, he's kind of an idiot.
Okay, maybe I just don't have that context to his character then. Yeah, I enjoyed all of that. I thought that Kirk did a great job and was... I liked the plan of laughing. I thought it was very sudden and very funny, and it worked very well. It sort of felt like the dancing. The time that they were like, okay, everyone stand very still, and now,
Yeah,
silly
it's very
dancing, everyone over
I'm
here.
mud.
Yeah, like, yes, I'm mud. Like, it felt very much like that. I liked that, like, intensity behind it. I felt very torn about Apollo. Ultimately, I think at the end, I liked the whole presentation, but the first part of it, I was like, I'm bored. I'm fucking bored with Apollo. I don't give a shit, Apollo. Like, so I think that that's part of it too, is that I wanted the, like, all of everything coming together to happen a lot faster, and it just, like, didn't. And I, like, again, I don't know if that's just, I've watched a lot of Star Trek now, and I'm, like, used to that, like, scene structure, or if, I don't know, or if I just didn't dig this episode that much. But there were a lot of parts of it I did like.
I like this episode. I think that the actor that plays Apollo does a really good job. I think that the actor that plays Carolyn does a good job. I think that it's an interesting, the joke about ancient aliens aside, it is an interesting concept. It's a concept that, like, is talked about in Star Trek all the time, and we've seen before, like, with Paradise Syndrome and things like that, like, if aliens came to a planet and it was really primitive, like, of course they would be seen as gods, and if they're, then subsist on the energy or the worship of them. And I thought his whole speech about, like, I knew that you guys would come sometime. I, like, knew that I would see you, and then having to be confronted with, like, we don't need you anymore. And
I thought
the like kind of philosophical, like, sadness of that.
Yeah, he has that great line at the end about, oh my God, I don't even remember what it is right now, about you were right, they no longer need us, and they don't fear us, they can, like, destroy us or something like that. He had a couple of, throughout the show, where he, like, sort of popcorned those in, but at the end it felt very, like, it did feel like such a good button on it. I feel like part of that is why I have, like, indecision about whether or not I actually liked him, because I thought that he ended so well.
I think he does a good job of being, like, a pompous god. I mean, he's like, pretty attractive for the time. Like, he makes sense as cast as Apollo. I think the effects of the big, like, embiggening or whatever, and everybody's reaction to that is really good.
No, for real, I really liked it.
And yeah, I don't know. I think I do also like the juxtaposition of this episode next to Space Seed, where in Space Seed we see that woman whose whole job or career expertise is, historical men or whatever, and then she gets, like, bamboozled and, like, sides with Khan and becomes a whole thing. And in this one, I do like that, and it can be read as, like, a weakness or whatever, not super feminine or feminist. And I do like in this one, even though she, like, clearly has feelings for him and talks about how, like, lonely he is, which of course he like is alone. All of his family was like, peace, bye. Kirk is like, you have a duty to these people on the ship. And she's like, you're right. You're absolutely right. My, like, the many over the one or whatever, which is, like, a big philosophy point in Star Trek. And I think she does a really good job of being like, I mean, her whole, like, speech of, like, oh yeah, I'm just a scientist, you're just, like, a specimen, is great. She does a great job. And his reaction to that is good. And I do like his whole speech at the end. Like, it's kind of a sad episode. And, like, even Kirk and McCoy are like, man, this one sucked. Like, we had to do it, but, like, this one sucked.
Yeah, maybe that's, it's weird because, again, the point of this project, right, is to have a deeper meaning of these between new fandoms and old. Like, I like hearing you guys talk about it right after I've just watched it, because you have so much more context than I do. And I would not have thought of this episode that deeply as having these, like, layers of contradiction and what's making it a very sad episode at the end. I don't know that I could have identified when I said earlier, I don't know that I liked this, that, like, that's part of that complexity of it too. So
yeah,
it's interesting to hear you say that right now, because it was like, oh, that's what I meant by that.
Well, and Kirk's, like, immediate, like, judgment is, I have to save my crew, I have to save my ship, I have to, whatever. But then, the moment he takes a step back, he's like, man, that all sucked. And Kirk is, like, book on legs. Like, he should have been so excited. And, like, when he was like Odysseus, like Hercules or whatever, and they were like, all right, I don't need the history lesson. I know all of that stuff. What are you talking about? How do you know all of that stuff? I don't know. I just think it's fascinating too, especially because, like, it shows, like the petulant nature of gods too, whereas like they left Earth because they were no longer needed thousands of years ago. And then everybody else, every other god was like, yeah, we don't have a purpose anymore. And Apollo held out this like sad hope. Like if they didn't need you thousands of years ago, why would they need you now that they got ships to come see you? I don't know, just the like self-delusion and stuff was really interesting. I think that he does a great job. Also, Chekhov is pretty good in this episode. He's got some good, in Russia, blah, blah, blah lines. But he's the one that figures out, like, every time Apollo uses his powers, he's tired. What's that mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think this episode is really fun. I like this episode a lot. Yeah, there's some, like, icky stuff in the cold open where
it's Greek gods.
Scotty and McCoy.
I just mean in an episode about Greek gods, you gotta expect there's gotta be some kind of gross bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, when he gets mad at her, like, I think that you can read a lot of that thunderstorm as a sexual assault. Like,
that's what I thought it was supposed to be, like, explicitly, because she's busted
she's
up
pretty
afterwards.
Fucked up. I don't know how far he gets into it, because they like end up using the phasers, hopefully like not super far or whatever, because she seems pretty upset at the end still about him like dying, not like something else. But like, yeah, Greek gods, especially Apollo, not great. When he was like Daphne and Cassandra, and I was like, do you remember what happened to Cassandra, my guy? Do you remember what you did to her? Come on. Not a great example. But yeah, interesting. I just think that I joked about like, oh, Apollo wouldn't be the one to stay, but I do think he has like this petulant, boyish nature to him, so it does make sense that it would be Apollo. Not a word for Artemis, man. Fuck hates his sister, I guess. He's like, Athena, Hera, Hermes. Girl, what about your sister?
Nope. She went first. She was like, fuck never her. Look back.
Nah, Hera went first. That's established.
Yeah,
which is true. Also very funny that Hera was like, I'm out. This, I don't think so. I like this episode a lot for those reasons. I do think, so the episode is Who Mourns for Adonis, Who Mourns for Adonai, Who Mourns for, what's the other pronunciation? There's so many different ways to say it.
Adonais.
Adonais. Yeah. Adonai is Hebrew.
Yes.
But it can be pronounced Adonis, whatever. But the title is an homage to a poem that Percy Shelley wrote about John Keats. It's a really layered reference. Because there's a poem called Adonis, an elegy of death of John Keats, author of Hyperion, etc. But it's about like John Keats being like a god of the literary world, and then him dying. What does it mean? Who mourns for the gods? Whatever. It's such a layered reference, but I do think that it's ridiculous, and I love it. Originally, the producers wanted to hire John Voight for Apollo.
You know what? I can totally see it.
But they found, he was busy doing something else. They found the guy who did it, Forrester, I think his name, or I don't know, whatever. They found him because Leonard Nimoy had done like a couple plays with him or whatever, and they were like, oh yeah, he reads godlike. They made him take his shirt off. They were like, yeah, this works. My favorite thing about him, Michael Forrest is his name. So he recalled working on the set, and he said that the woman who played Carolyn was wonderful, great to work with. But he said, William Shatner was a bit of a problem. You never saw me standing next to him. We were always in different shots. We would be talking to one another, but we wouldn't be on camera at the same time. I'm sure that's what he stipulated because I'm so much taller than him.
Oh
which I think is so funny and really incredible.
The Rock learned it from somebody.
Is The Rock really short?
No, I'm sorry. The Rock is, you're not allowed to punch him, which is not true anymore. He's had it removed from his contract because he realized he fucked up so desperately with Black Adam that he was like, I apologize. Please punch me in the face on camera.
Black Adam was so bad.
But no, it's because of him. Vin Diesel is the one that does it because of the Fast Furious movies. He's so much shorter than The Rock that he like would throw a fit about it, and
That's
so
funny.
They always had to be the same height.
But honestly, I respect that because fuck The Rock.
Yeah,
that's his franchise. It's Vin Diesel's franchise.
Yeah, that's true.
It's William Shatner's show. Yeah, I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh, we've talked about Star Trek Continues a lot, which is like a fan-made sequel. And Michael Forrest reprises his role as an elderly Apollo who asks the Enterprise crew for help. I don't really know how that works because he's supposed to like be oblivion in the wind, but I don't know, God stuff. Mark Daniels, the director of this, loves this episode. He says it came together so well, which I agree. I really like it. Originally, they were going to have all of the gods by their Latin and Roman names, but then they didn't because Hercules is the same in both, and they were like, that feels confusing.
Yeah, people will get confused, for
Which
real.
is very funny to me because it's Hercules with like a K or whatever. Dumb.
Basically the same. I mean, that's the shift over, right? They're like, people really like Hercules. We just gotta just throw an extra letter on there and be fucking fine.
He's lame. Boo all men in Greek mythology.
End of
Yeah,
sentence.
well, there is that. Oh, in the novels, this is a dumb thing that the novels do. They do it with Spock. They do it here. They love to be like, actually, that woman was pregnant the whole time. So there is a character.
So she did have a demigod.
Yeah, Mark McHenry, who's the descendant of Apollo. She has a daughter named Athena. And then Athena is McHenry's grandma, which I think is so crazy to be like, no, we fucked, and I did get pregnant by a god, so no big deal.
I mean, again,
Also,
I assumed
name
that
her
happened.
Artemis. So fucked up to not name her Artemis.
No, Artemis left and was like, keep my name out of your mouth.
I mean, I guess technically she's the goddess of, like, virginity.
I don't want any products. Thank you.
This is, like, kind of a classic fuck God thing that becomes a big trope. Obviously, Star Trek V, the best Star Trek movie, is all about them fighting God. They like hate gods. And this is kind of like the beginning of that. I mean, we see that a little bit with like the aliens who are godlike, but this is like the first time they meet like God or a gods. I think it's the first time. It might not be. But this is, along with talking the computers to death, this is also very, and not just a TOS thing, this is a very just Star Trek thing. Like, do we even need gods? One thing that I found that I thought was really fun that I never clocked, in Star Trek Beyond, they're stranded on a planet, which is the third of the new Star Trek movies, the good one that Simon Pegg wrote.
Ah, yes.
They're trying to like, how did this ship get lost? Because they're stranded on a planet and they're inside of a ship. And Scotty throws out a bunch of theories and he goes, maybe a green hand came out of the sky and took them. And then in the post-credits scene, there's a bunch of, animation or whatever, and a big like Apollo green hand is in the the movie credits, which I put a link to a YouTube video that like shows those clips, which I thought was really fun. So if you want to see that, you can check it out in our notes.
In addition to that, also, you gave Gene a like Star Trek Colors book when he was first born, and one of them towards the very end of the book is a giant mysterious green hand, and I've been like, well, I'm gonna get there eventually, because I can recognize that it's the Enterprise, so I know that it's TOS at least, and I was like, well, I'll see you someday over there, green hand. And so when it came on today, I was like,
green hand.
Green hand. I finally know what this is.
Yeah.
Would not have guessed that it would be this kind of episode. Not gonna lie. Did not think it was gonna be about Greek gods.
Yeah.
Kind of hit me out of nowhere.
There were more episodes with Greek gods, but there are not. Yeah, I don't know. I just really like this episode. I think the acting in it is very good, and I think the philosophy presented. Also, it's interesting sometimes to have an away mission without Spock. Like, I love Spock and Kirk, obviously, together, but it is also interesting to see Kirk's dynamics with the rest of the crew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
So.
again, more Chekhov that's good. It's not just annoying Chekhov all the time, which is nice.
Yeah. Anyways, those are my thoughts about this episode. Any more thoughts? Ooh, my one other thought is I love when Uhura is fixing the communications
I was literally just
console.
going to say that.
I love when she does that. I love when they show her as so competent at her job. Like,
she's annoyed, but she's like,
yeah, there's the joke in Galaxy Quest, right, which is the spoof of TOS, and there's a line where she's like repeating the computer, and everyone's like, yeah, we can hear the computer, and she says, I have one job on this ship, it's stupid, but I'm gonna do it. And that's like the trope or whatever. But there are many episodes where they show Uhura as not just somebody who reads the computer out loud. She knows how to fix the communications array, she knows how to speak other languages, she like knows how to like she is an actual communications officer. She's not just like somebody who reads the computer, and I appreciate when they like show that.
Absolutely. And it's nice too, because she's like gloves on, smock thing happening.
She's ready to get dirty.
And like that back and forth too of like, I'm fucking annoyed that you're asking me this. Do you want me to go faster and have it fucking fail? Because I will. And he's like, no, you're good. Okay.
You're doing a good job. I wouldn't trust anybody else.
Okay, thank you. Probably should have been more clear about that. Bye. Just like slides out of the panel is so good.
Totally.
It's such a good indication of their relationship also, which I know that you love the bestie supremacy of
Well,
her and Spock.
Kirk and Uhura's bestie supremacy.
I'm sorry.
But I do like their relationship too. Kirk and Uhura, because it's the whole thing with AOS. It's all so stupid.
Okay, sure.
They made Spock straight. They keep trying to make him straight. They gotta stop.
It's not a thing.
They gotta stop.
No. Why would an alien be straight? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire fucking life. No reason for it.
I do hate the line where they like talk about the one god, and I was like, didn't need that.
Yeah, for real. That was stupid.
Also
Whatever.
not like a part of any philosophy in Star Trek going forward. Dumb.
Just the censors being like, you have to include this. You killed a god. You have to make sure that they know that the one is important and is fine.
Probably.
Lame.
All right, synopsis showdown. I wrote, because I like to make a joke 6 times, William Shatner auditions for Ancient Aliens 50 years before the show premieres. He's on that show.
William Shatner's on that show?
Yes,
That
he's like a
doesn't surprise me
frequent guest
at
on
all.
Ancient Aliens.
Nah, did I even ask? I know. Of course that's true. Gods are real and they can suck Kirk's dick.
I'm sure there's a fic for that.
Oh, I'm certain that there is.
Are you ready for Scully? It's me.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess not Scully. Well, yeah, Scully. Scully's
Yeah,
there.
mhm.
But we don't know who's calling.
That's true. It could
Not
be
Mulder.
Reyes. It could be Doggett. It could be Mulder from space. We don't know.
Yeah.
I want to ask you to open your mind to something. I don't want you to think I'm crazy, all right?
Why would I think that you're crazy?
Do you believe the universe is knowable as a mathematical calculation of the whole, reducible to a single equation?
No.
All right, it's time for a quick-ish episode summary.
Yes.
We're in a casino in the middle of the day, so you know things are going super well. Burt Reynolds is there and is talking to a shifty man he's trying to talk out of something. Well, it doesn't work and he murders a woman in a fucking casino bathroom. It's really unfortunate. Also, really gory. This episode has like a lot of blood in it. Just maybe like a trigger warning on that one. Monica Reyes is on the show now and is everybody's problem. She's investigating this particular murder because she believes it's linked to numerology. Quote, she realizes that when she adds up the numbers of the letters in the victims' names with the numbers in their birthdays, a pattern arises. Sure, fine, whatever. Scully immediately is like, yeah, numerology is absolutely not real, but hey, here's maybe like an actual clue, maybe? The FBI cheers for Reyes and her numbers. God fucks around with Wayno in Little Italy. I don't know, it's really unclear where they are, but there's Burt Reynolds. Wayno then kills a numerology expert that Reyes just talked to. Oh, the FBI yells at Reyes for her numbers. Boo! Scully finds that it's a ring with 3 cell 6s, and by absolute insane God-assisted coincidence, do you get it? Scully and Reyes are in the same elevator as the killer, and obviously Scully recognizes his ring and they hightail it towards him, I guess. He gets away. He gets into the elevator and escapes. God hangs out with Scully and Reyes playing dominoes and such type games in a parking garage. They realize that, hey, he might still be in this parking garage too, and they find him. He dies because Doggett can feel Reyes being threatened from across the city and thus murders this man. Scully and Reyes have a gay little bedtime scene before, because Fox knows about fic now, I guess, and that's the end. What'd you think about this episode?
Fox knows about fic now. What did I think about this episode? A plot I really liked. I think that the numerology stuff, while stupid, is interesting in the context of X-Files and gives Monica something interesting to do and to have like Doggett and Scully push back on, right? Because you have to have the the straight man's push back on the weird stuff. Also, as you've established, Chris Carter likes numerology stuff. Also, even though the people at the FBI were being like, that's not what serial killing is. Like, serial killing by definition is a form of insanity, and so you're killing for stupid reasons many times. Yeah, it could be the really basic profile of man hates woman because mom was mean to him or whatever. But it could very much be because I saw the numbers because I'm fucking crazy, and the fact that they dismiss that is dumb. But I think that leads to like a legitimately interesting episode, and I love the concept of God respects free will to the point that he is sad about it. And he tries to intervene by being like, hey, what if you didn't? But he still allows the murders to happen. He's still like, I guess you could make an argument that he's not allowing free will to happen because he's like showing, the numbers or whatever. But also I think there's an argument of like, maybe he's not there. I mean, he helped them with the checkers thing, but he's like, but also I knew that these girls are smart and that they would figure it out. I just need to put a pattern in front of them. I won't show them what it is, which I think is really interesting.
Also, now that you say that too, that just clicked for me. Doggett sees his dominoes too, and like being able to be like the pattern that he did was the radiating out one too, which
Yeah.
would make sense that it gets out to Doggett too, as he's like associated with these contacts with God or whatever.
Yeah, I really, really love because there's still like, oh, God gave us free will and then he fucked off. There's no God anymore, right? Or there's the ineffable God that's like, it's all a plan or whatever, an ineffable plan. Or there's, the God who intervenes because he's God and he knows everything, and everything in the universe is because of God, etc. I love the philosophy of God. God gave us free will and then had to live with that choice.
Mm-hmm.
And respects humanity or whatever enough to let them make these awful choices, which is a really interesting philosophical argument to like when people are like, it's in God's hands or whatever. But it's like, it's the whole parable of the guy on the roof and like, oh, God's gonna save me. And it's like, dude, there was a boat. Like, save your fucking self,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, that's the whole point of free will. Like, you can believe in God, but like if you truly believe in God, you should believe in humanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is brilliant. He like God like loved that girl and was like sad and it's like, fuck, that sucks, And even like that line where he's like, you're a card. I love you, but you're a card. Like that was great. Burt Reynolds did a great job in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did do a really good job.
He's a great choice for like that type of God.
Absolutely. I totally agree. He feels, I don't know if benevolent is the right word, maybe, because he doesn't actually act in it, but benevolent always feels like it has
Benevolent feels like it has an action to me, though. If you're a benevolent God, you're doing good, you're doing active good. He feels like a neutral God, like a true neutral God.
I don't know. I think, I mostly agree. I feel like part of it too is like he did ultimately orchestrate for the serial killer to get dead. Like that would not have happened unless he had not contained them and then let Doggett show up. Like, is that part of the free will or?
But I don't know if he did contain them, like closing a door behind you. I think I genuinely believe
Scully shot that door a lot of times. She shot that door a lot of
it
times.
was a metal door.
I'm just saying.
I don't know. I think that I like the read if he just shows up and he's like, I even like the read of like that guy being really into numerology. Like we don't know that he wasn't. They were like, maybe it's this pattern, maybe maybe he was really into numerology. We don't fucking know. He doesn't say. It's just, why did you kill? We don't know. And we never hear his motivations. And they throw out like 16 different motivations for him.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea that God is just there to be like, look at this.
Maybe.
And he doesn't ask them any leading questions. He's just like, that's a great observation.
Mm-hmm.
Continue. Like, he's just like this weird hype man. And I think, I like the read that he's not helping. I like the read that they actually did all of the detective work. And he just happened to be there because he tried to prevent the murder in the way that he can, which is just being like, what if you made a better choice today?
Yeah. I do like that he is like, make a different choice. It, like specifically tells him, make a different choice.
Make a better choice.
No.
You know what the secret is? Make a better choice.
No, I don't wanna. I don't feel like I wanna.
So the A plot, and I think all of the FBI agents do a good job in their roles or whatever. Like even the annoying ones, like the director or whatever, is shitty and bad, and like that's the point, right? The B plot or whatever, or like the tone. It's not even a B plot. The like tone, dumb, doesn't make sense. I don't agree that it's camp. I think that it pulls from the episode. I get that sometimes it's fun to be like, God's interesting. God likes music, whatever. Disconnected, stupid, takes away from like a pretty interesting story. Also, it's an episode about women.
I fully disagree about the music.
It's about women being murdered. Like, honestly, if it had just been the music, I could see it. It's the whole Little Italy of it all. It's the whole weird camp shit or like supposed camp shit at the end. That feels like the set of Hollywood AD where it's like, yeah, we're all goofing around at the end. That feels dismissive to the seriousness of the story. Like, I could get the music because that could be like, oh, God loves music and he's like, trying to make the world better or like to affect this guy's mood by like, oh, here's a jaunty tune. The like weird Italian guys lip syncing. Like, also, why Italian? Like, it doesn't. What the fuck?
it doesn't matter. And also,
It's an episode of
hold
television.
on, wait a minute. You have
Everything
yelled
should
over me
matter.
several times. Hold on now.
It should matter.
I'm about to bust my mom voice out. You keep talking over me. Hold on.
It should matter.
It can matter. Part of it is that the whole background of those is camp because it's fucking weird. It's supposed to be that way because who cares about the women who were murdered? That sounds terrible. It doesn't matter. There's no positive. There's no negative. It's all completely neutral to God. And so then what's he want to do? Have a fucking fancy little party out in Little Italy. I think it fits together with how fucked up the rest of it is, especially because the director is fucked up. All the rest of the people are there are also fucked up. Like, it's not as though it's just, here it is at the end. It's tied and connected throughout the rest of it. Like, I think it works together only because it's 195 episode into X-Files. It fucking shows. Like, this, everything is just barren. It's stripped down as far as it can get. And this is some of the best stuff in season 9. So I get it. I understand why you don't like it. But I also feel like you're not coming at it from the right wavelength.
I've seen so much of the X-Files though, and to say it's just the tone of it and it doesn't matter. Like, it's an episode of television where they had a group of writers and then they wrote this insane, nonsensical.
It was just Chris Carter.
I
mean, sorry, I feel like that's a little obvious.
I don't see the through line of it at all. I think it makes the episode weak. I can see people being like, what the fuck did I just watch? And it totally dismisses all of the like good character work. And honestly, like, it takes a really good performance from Burt Reynolds and diminishes it. I would not want to watch this episode ever again.
Really interesting. Even though you like Burt Reynolds inside of it.
I think he did a really good job, and I think that the
if you got to it in a full watch through, would you skip over it?
No, I mean, it's not like the worst thing in the world, but like, I think that the choices are insulting to the viewer. I think they're really dumb, and I think it feels like a person who just wanted to do a thing and didn't have any justification for it, but because they're a showrunner, they get to do a thing. And I get like, that's the X-Files, but that is insulting to a viewer.
I kind of understand what you're saying. At this point, this script doesn't feel that way, but I get it. I understand what you're saying. Part of it, too, is that I also know Burt Reynolds was brought into this because Robert Patrick worked with him, and Burt Reynolds was like, can I be on the X-Files? I would really like to be on the X-Files. And so Chris Carter wrote this treatment, gave it to Burt Reynolds, and was like, what do you think? Do you want to do this? And he was like, this is perfect. Let's do this. So that's part of it,
He's an actor, not a producer, not a writer. Like,
Burt Reynolds knows Burt Reynolds. If you want a whole show that's about Burt Reynolds being God, like, he knows how to say yes and no to that.
But the performance doesn't get worse if you don't have two old men lip syncing Italian at the end. You could even do the whole Burt Reynolds face in the lights. Like, you can still do that. You can still do literally everything. It's just the weird pantomime. And then if you're like, oh, well, it's God. God controls everything. The whole point is that he doesn't control anything. So it is.
But does he? That's the fundamental idea of the episode, right? Is it?
No, it's not. He literally sits there and says,
Again, he pushes people towards directions and then says, I let them make their own decisions.
You can argue that he doesn't, though.
You could argue both things. It's exactly what we're doing. We're literally arguing about it.
But pushing somebody towards a decision and making a whole street do a fucking musical performance, absolutely different vibes.
Honestly, it just feels like Vegas or, like we were saying before, Atlantic City. Truthfully, it's 2 in the afternoon. Everyone wants to be drunk. Like,
nobody is putting on a street performance.
Oh, really? I guess we go to different parts of Vegas.
Like, yeah, there are performers, but not every single person is walking down the street doing a whole performance. Like, it's just absurd. You're never going to get me on it. Like, it's a good acted episode. It is a well-written A-plot with a nothing thrown in to distract from it.
All right.
Like, it doesn't work for me.
That's fine. Not everything works for everybody. And also, again, season 9 is basically bullshit. It's pretty bad. I say I'm an X-Files enthusiastic apologist. That also means understanding most of 9 is fucking garbage. A lot of it is garbage.
Why take the one good episode and then ruin it with a fucking Italian pantomime? And this is not like shitting on Italy. Like, I don't care about that. This is just like, also like, why?
Go ahead. Shit on Italy all day long, my friend.
No, it's like that is also irrelevant to what I'm talking about. It's just, it could have been any subculture. It could have been like France. It could have been Thailand. It could have been anything. And it's just like, why?
I mean, why anything, I suppose. Would it surprise you to know that Annabeth Gish did not do very good acting in this?
I think she did fine in this. I don't even like her as an actor, and I think
she was
did
talking
fine.
about how hard it was to remember her lines while all the shit was going on around her all the time. She was like, it was just really difficult to be able to keep track of it.
Oh, is it hard to do your lines when two little like Italian men are like
They were
jazz
not in the same
hands
scene
in the
together.
background? Like insane.
That's across of the universe within the universe. They didn't exist in the same scenes together.
And they shouldn't have, because it doesn't make any sense.
You don't do numerology stuff, right? Like, that's not something that you're interested in. I didn't think so. Me neither. I'm not even going to ask you, Bobby. The answer should be no. Mark Snow was the one who did most of the music. It's based on records made by Carl Zero, who, by request of Chris Carter, he was like, this kind of reminds me of the end of Italy. Hey, want to go to a party? This is the music I want. So in that sense, you're like, right, that he wanted like a camped up version of that. He wanted I can see this in my head Chris Carter version of it. Like, so that's why Mark Snow did it the way that he did. But he also said, like, I've never, ever done this. Like, this is a career challenge. Like, I have never in my life made music like this. And so now I get this opportunity to, like, paint this, because this is what the character of God in it likes, is this type of music. Like, I thought it was a very interesting way to talk about breaking down work that he's done for decades. And it's like, I really had to think differently about this. And it sounds like good. It sounds like
The music is good. It just
sounds
doesn't
like-
make sense.
it sounds like music that exists outside of the X-Files universe. I thought he did a very, very good job of that. That's really all I have to say. This is season 9, so there's not a ton about it.
Do people like this episode?
Yes, no, it's honestly, it's really hard to find real reviews about 9. Like, that sounds shitty, but it's true. Like, so many people are just so willing to fucking hate on season 9 for a lot of really good reasons that it's bad. You know what I mean? Like, do you want to look it up? It's bad. Do you want to know specifically why it's bad? It's because everybody hates season 9. It's like, I think with this too, I think part of it with you is that you have very nuanced critiques of 9 as episodes of 9 within like such a shitty whole. Like, I think that you're better able to be like, this is a singular item within this, and like, this is why I don't like this. Where like, normally I look at this episode as part of a so much more unpalatable whole, that like, this doesn't feel bad watching it in order. Watching it out of order is like, this is a nightmare. What is this numerology bullshit? Monica, go home. But like, as context as a whole, I also think that that's important for me to remember too, is that you just don't, not in a bad way, but like, you just don't know what it's like to watch a 9 in a chronological watch. It's just hell.
I think it is unfair to say, I mean, I don't like numerology, you don't like numerology. Monica Reyes is not out there in the X-Files for being like, I think it's numerology. That fits in the track of the show, I feel like. Like,
yes, her character, it's hard to describe her character. It's like they wanted to replace Doggett as the new Scully with Scully, and like, it kind of works. And they were like, oh, so Doggett's kind of popular, people like him, cool, we'll get a new Mulder, but she'll be a lady. And so it's just her turned up to like fucking 15 all the time. And so yeah, it's not that weird. I think Mulder does other numerology stuff. It's just, why are you so intense all the goddamn time? We like Mulder and we think you're too much. I think that's a huge part of her character. It's like I like the one where she's trapped in the hospital dollhouse because she feels so much more subdued. You don't know what I'm talking about, but you will eventually. Like, that, there's just something about she seems desperate. As a character, the show seems absolutely desperate for people to like her, and it's just an immediate, that's a no from me, dog. Like, you can just smell the way she's introduced into the series is she sits up in bed totally fucking topless, and so all you see is her big topless back, and then she like gets out of bed real sexy and like empties her phone. It's like, that's not what we liked about Scully or Mulder. Like, what the fuck is this? And right away it was just a big middle finger. Like, you don't understand what we like about these characters. And so Monica just like really snowballed. And then like the shit that happened between the 9 and 10, like she dies and it's good. I don't know how else to put that. It's just, her character is so poorly written. And again, it's just kind of hard to explain when you haven't watched 9 seasons and then heard, oh, David Duchovny's not back. Instead, I get this. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
All right, cool. Synopsis showdown?
Sure.
The only thing that's always true about God is that he wants to fuck with us.
The concept of God who respects free will to his detriment is great. Whatever the fuck it was going on with Little Italy and all of that was terrible and insane.
All right. Are you ready for Deep Throat's mission logs.
Yeah.
I wish we hadn't had to do this.
So do I.
Starting with Who Mourns for Adonais, Adonis. First aired September 22nd, 1967. Directed by Mark Daniels, as Stell mentioned. One of his favorite episodes, maybe his favorite episode, as it is put in several places. This is written by Gilbert Ralston, who did multiple episodes of Wild Wild West, Ben Casey, Hawaii Five-0, and the screenplay for the 71 Rat Boy thriller Willard.
I like that movie. It's fucked up.
Have you seen the original one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. The remake is good too, but also very.
It's just because I love Crispin Glover, and that was his return.
Yes, it was.
It was awesome.
A little more on that alternative ending that Stell mentioned. According to Alan Asherman's Star Trek Compendium, that was actually the original ending of the episode, and it was network censors that put the kibosh on her being pregnant at the end. So there was heavy pushback there. Whatever you want to read to that. We actually get a lovely quote from our costume designer, William Werthies here. Because I'm hung up on Greek mythology, I always preferred the script in the version the studio killed, wherein the ending is bittersweet rather than tragic. McCoy discovers the young female officer is due to bear the child of Apollo. And this was, like a lot of alternate endings and endings are, this ends up in Star Trek VII, the Blish novelization of this. That is ending novelization.
Because he just writes them based off of the original script.
Because he gets the scripts early and then has to write them. I have here an excerpt from that original ending if people want to read it. However, if the two of you would like to read it in characters.
Oh, Lord. What?
In characters?
Yes.
You just throw improv on it? What are you talking about?
Okay, the script is in my notes. Stella, if you would like to read the role of James Tiberius Kirk.
Make us do this.
Erin, if you would like to read the role of Leonard Bones McCoy. Welcome to McKirkster Peace Theater.
God, fuck you.
Stupid.
Fuck you. Bye.
Yes, Bones? Somebody ill?
Carolyn Palamas rejected her breakfast this morning.
Some bug going around?
She's pregnant, Jim. I've just examined her.
What?
You heard me.
Apollo.
Yes.
Bones, it's impossible.
Spock, may I put a question to that gadget of yours? If you'd like to ask it if I'm to turn my sickbay into a delivery room for a human child or a god. My medical courses did not include obstetrics for infant gods. Nope, Bones doesn't know how to pronounce it. I respect that.
Bones doesn't do a lot of dealings with babies on board.
I'm too drunk to tell you that.
He's got cuckoo, guju, goo goo, gaga down, as we've seen.
He's delivered a baby.
Just holds his hand out and hopes to God.
Okay. Of course, the full Apollo's temple set was indoor. You can tell there's no sky there. Swaying trees, courtesy of stagehands, dubbed in bird sounds, stock footage of an outdoor lake, which was very clearly a place they were not in. That scene where Scotty absolutely does a fucking backflip. That's once again his stuntman, Jay Jones, who damn near / maybe have concussed himself pulling that out. He's got a wire wrapped to him. That's what that long drag is. But as you can see, he almost conks his head on a set piece on his way up getting dragged.
I thought he did. I thought it looked real close.
No, that's not work, baby. That table flip is also brutal. That first one, golly.
Flip.
We have a cool prop note here where that fused broken phaser that you see Kirk pick up after Apollo zaps him, that is just the same one that they used in Space Seed that Khan crushed with his hand. So it's another connection to Space Seed because we were talking about it earlier. And then, apocryphal as it may be, it just works for me. The hand model of the hand that was holding the Enterprise was Gene Roddenberry's hand.
Of course it was. Of course it was. I wondered who it was. It had to be somebody.
There is a fan-made song by a band called the Vulcan Dub Squad. These actually sound a lot more punkish than dub at all. They wear jackets, pants, and then weird hoods over their heads. I have a YouTube link if you want to look at it in the Patreon notes. The song is Who Mourns For Adonais. Take a look if you want. I'm not promoting this band. I'm just saying this exists. I didn't do enough research about them to promote them or not.
That's fair.
Super fair.
Casting in this one is kind of easy because it's just the two people who aren't normally there and our small crew. So that's Leslie Parrish as Carolyn, model turned actress with 100 TV roles to her name, other known roles in Little Abner, The Manchurian Candidate, and The Giant Spider Invasion, which is a great Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode. It's actually
I've seen that one.
Really funny. She wears this dress that William Worthies designed for her for this episode, which was pretty much censor pushing at the time
No belly
as well.
button,
Pretty much it
No
was.
no belly button though, which is how you get around it. But she wears it again in an episode of Mannix called The Girl in the Frame. Both shows made around the same time, kind of the same production company. Hey, we got a dress that was made for her. Might as well throw her in it again. She really loved this episode and loved her work in it. There's a quote that says, "Whenever I watch it, I go right back to the whole thing again and cry my way through it. I relive it, my impression of it. That is, it's one piece of work that I'm very proud of. Of all the work I did, this is outstanding because it's rooted in something which I believe so deeply in." That shot of her at the end and her sorrow sells a lot of the episode for me.
Yeah, both of them honestly crying, like him crying and accepting defeat and being like, I was wrong, and then her being like really upset.
That's an emotional depth that we don't get to a lot in TOS.
Yeah.
And it works here. It really ties her character together.
You can tell that he's a stage actor in like a good way in this one because he's so large, and he has to be because he's a literal god.
Fun fact about her: in 1999, she created a 240-acre wildlife sanctuary in Orcas Island in the San Juan Islands in Washington State to save it from industrial logging. She calls it the Spring Hill Wildlife Sanctuary. And then moving on, as Stell said, that is Michael Forrest as our Apollo. To the surprise of no one, graduated with a BA in drama and English. He was often used as a leading man by Roger Corman earlier in his career. So he was in Roger Corman's meat grinder of films, while also doing Shakespeare off stage. Notable film roles include King Kong Lives and The Message, over 175 guest TV roles as well. He also oddly did a lot of anime and video game voice work.
Interesting.
Mostly listed under the name Alfred Thor, so not his name at all. Early works including like mid-70s Loop on the Third anime movies, Ninja Scroll, multiple Gundam movies, Fist of the North Star, Ghost in the Shell, Cowboy Bebop, the Dot Hack video game series, Samurai and Dynasty Warriors video game series, World of Warcraft, Paprika, so much more. He's still alive and working, which is like rare in TOS. 9 years before this, he films this, he appeared in The Road to Wickenburg, which was written by Roddenberry. And then sometime later, him and Leonard Nimoy become friends and do Gene Garrett's theatrical play Death Watch and then the subsequent movie adaptation. So he worked a lot with Nimoy in the past and then worked under Roddenberry, and that's how he gets on this instead of casting John Voight, which there's a universe that exists where that casting happened, and I'm kind of glad we don't live in it.
Yeah.
I feel like John Voight would wind up being just like Julie Newmar. It'd be like he doesn't even understand what he's doing. He'd be like, all right, bye.
The producers also wanted somebody with an English dialect for the role of Apollo.
That's such a classic Hollywood thing. That's like
they want,
foreign. It must be English.
They want the transatlantic accent is what they really want. And
so,
like he does it. He's very good at it.
So what happened is he went in for this audition. They asked him to do an English accent. He said no, because I can't do that. And he gave them Mid-Atlantic.
Yes.
And they liked it, so they cast him.
Good.
And then Stell already read that very, very cunty quote about him working with Shatner. Yes. It's true. You do never see them standing next to one another. You just see Shatner lying there on the stairs while he sits in his chair. Mm-hmm. Moving on to the X-Files. Original air date, April 7th, 2002. We are sitting in this room on April 6th, 2002. Wow. The numbers. 2025, yeah.
Wait, what?
The numbers.
God, I hope it's not 2002.
Of course, written and directed by Chris Carter. The tagline up at the top of the episode, Dio ti ama, means God loves you in Italian, because for some reason Italian.
It's Italian.
Burt Reynolds is barely Italian.
This was not
English, Scottish.
This was not done for Burt.
But then he said, "But I'm a little
you look
Cherokee
at the
and
run.
Italian," which is not
the wrong run. Chris Carter Italian.
I don't know what Chris Carter is. However, the episode ends with this long pan out shot. It's switched from a crane shot above the street to a digital shot of the world of a smiling Burt Reynolds as God's face. There is, however, in the DVD extras, a version of that ending where, of course, that face is Chris Carter's.
I have those. I'd seen that before and was like, oh, that's right. That was just an extra on this. Because for some reason I thought Burt Reynolds' face turned into Chris Carter's, but I think that is just me remembering the DVDs.
I perhaps maybe like remember/disremember something similar.
Yeah. I don't know if that's like a thing you could toggle on. A thing you could do with DVDs.
Moving on to some castings, we see Travis Riker as perfectly normal William Scully III. His second to last appearance as totally normal William, along with his twin brother James, because of course, babies. One of their only other credits, both of them, is a music video for Fall Out Boy.
What? What the fuck?
Man, reading
what
up on
music video is that?
It's for the song "The Mighty Fall." I don't listen to a lot of Fall Out Boy, so we'd have to talk to Ben, I imagine. But
I'm good.
I don't know.
Yeah, we see as a bartender and then as Italian man, the bartender in the casino and then as Italian man at the end, an actor named Angelo Vacco. We've previously seen him in F. Emasculata as a doorman, and he's also in the X-Files episodes Talia Kumi and Milagro. Two of the most Italian-sounding X-Files names I could possibly throw at you. Mm-hmm. Kind of amazing. He does a lot of additional voice work for live-action TV shows, so a lot of like crowd mumbling and things like that.
He literally mumbles Italian, and they go Italian speaking, and it's literally just him mumbling.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting how prominent those two old Italian guys were in this. So I was like, they gotta be someone, right? Just like old Italian. No, they're just dudes. They have very they both act in other things. They have limited roles, but like nothing long like I was expecting at all. So they were on some casting agents list as old Italian men, and we briefly see another Italian person, Amy Sheridan Offerberger, which I believe is one of the victims. She does a lot of film shorts, but then also transferred in a career to doing production and accounting work for Disney and Marvel.
Oh, so she makes a shitload of money.
So she makes a shit ton
Got
of money.
it.
So pretty small and spacious up to there until we get to Ellen Green, who is plays Vicky Burdick in this episode. She's amazing. She's amazing.
Such a tiny episode.
It's such a tiny role for her. That's Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors, the original Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah. Man, I knew she seemed familiar.
She originated the role in the off-Broadway show and then jumped to the movie. Has like continued to do the role throughout her career as well, even going back to do it with Jake Gyllenhaal as Seymour in a recent production. Really, really cool. Also notable roles in the adaptation of Eric Bogosian's Talk Radio, Leon the Professional, Vivian Charles on 22 episodes of Pushing Daisies, Naked Gun 33 1/3, The Final Insult, Virginia Gray on Heroes, and then Miss Kameda on Hannibal as well.
She's great in Hannibal. She doesn't have a big role, but she's like one of the high society people at the opera and is like, Hannibal, you haven't cooked for us in a while. And then he throws a dinner party and then she's like, finds out that, he fed her people.
Surprise. I'm a Hannibal.
Brian Fuller loves her. He will put her in anything.
Do you know if has she done more work with him?
Pushing Daisies is his.
Pushing Daisies is his. That is right. I forget about that. Another one of that guy, that's John Capellos as Special Agent Foreside, the hapless agent in charge of this investigation that completely just kind of, for some reason, Chris Carter decided that there is going to be a contingent of agents that are so by the book that they can barely investigate on their own. You've probably seen him in something like from Breakfast Club to Shape of Water. He's been acting and being a character actor for decades now. Jack Ruby on Umbrella Academy, Duke in The Shadow, Desperate Housewives, Ren on The Expanse. He's been acting since 81 and he's still working everywhere right now. For someone so prominent and so noticeable, he has one of the most succinct bios on Internet Movie Database that I've ever seen in my life. You can tell when some of these actors like write their own or get their agents to write on. It is just where he was born, when he went to college. Fucking amazing.
All you need to know.
That brings us to Ray McKinnon as Mad Wayne. Wayno. He's listed in credits as Mad Wayne, which like so much of this, that character just exists to push the plot along, not necessarily in a bad way, but in this weird predestined way that we're dealing with this subject matter. He's another prominent character who does a great job at being odd here, most known for his 11-episode run of Reverend H.W. Smith on Deadwood, 30 episodes as writer, showrunner, and producer of the show Rectify, and has an Oscar for Best Live Action Short for the short film The Accountant, which he wrote, directed, and starred in, opposite Walton Goggins. Recently returned roles in Exeter, Mayans MC, which was a continuation character of his Sons of Anarchy character, because he was a big character in that as well, and The Continental. And then that brings us to Burt Reynolds. I don't know, man. It's Burt Reynolds. I got a bunch of facts here, but like I'm not going to I don't know, give you his whole thing. He started acting in 55 with a pretty prominent role in the TV show Gunsmoke, and then plays cowboys until like 77 Smoking the Bandit. And at that point, he's as much of a celebrity personality as he is an actor. And the rest of his career kind of subsists upon him being Burt Reynolds. Always seems to have a good sense of humor about himself and Hollywood. He even voiced himself in the completely ridiculous video game Saints Row the Third. Attended Florida State University on a football contract. Star running back, injured his knee 2 seasons in. Desperately wanted to be a sports guy his whole life, was friends with a bunch of sports guys.
He's done a ton of sports movies.
Yeah, and he's done a ton of sports and football movies. Throughout all of those early cowboy shit, he was doing his own stunts, and it said he's broken over 40 bones, or had 40 bones broken during his time. A lot of his later health problems, back surgeries, things like that, were all because he insisted on doing his own stunt work through the 50s. Got nominated for an Oscar for 1998's Boogie Nights. Hated that movie. Hates Paul Thomas Anderson.
Unsurprising. Completely unsurprising.
It's an overrated movie.
And then a couple of funnier things too. He was originally slated to be John McClane in the Die Hard movies. Passed on that. Was director Milos Forman's first choice for the lead in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Passed on that. Nicholson won an Oscar for it.
It would be terrible casting for that. Holy shit.
And then was writer-director James L. Brooks' first choice for the role of the lead in Terms of Endearment. Passed on that. Jack Nicholson won another Oscar for that.
That's funny.
I hope he just hated Jack Nicholson. He was like, get out of my face, Jack.
I don't know. There's a lot of lore about this man. There's some more of it in my summary, but it's Burt Reynolds, and he does great in this. He doesn't have to stretch a lot. He's got the personality. He's got the charisma. He carries this really well, and doesn't really ask a lot. I like the interplay between him and Scully in the basement, where she's like, I'm kind of fucking annoyed by you. Stay right here.
She's ready to shoot him at any second.
There's something else that's bugging me.
What's that?
Who was that man?
God knows.
All right, time for overall thoughts. So they both deal with gods.
Yes, they very much deal with gods. One singular god, both of them, not a cadre of gods.
Yeah, and free will in many ways. Apollo obviously isn't an all-knowing god, but he wants them to not have their free will anymore. He wants to just you do the laurel leaves and I'll do the food or whatever. And they are like, nah, that's not how this works.
And also, you won't do the food. We know it.
Yeah. We'll do the food. We'll have the sheep. How well do these episodes tie together?
I don't actually think these are very similar. I feel like a lot of times we're like, hey, there's this and
The
there's
theme
that.
is
like,
there.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Yeah, that seems like basically it, actually.
Which is fine.
Weird. I don't know how many times that's happened.
Yeah,
Right?
I can't really think of anything else that other than the free will thing, which is like kind of par for the course when you talk about gods.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, weird. Oh my God, there's nothing else that ties them together. So we finally did it. All these many episodes in 71.
Superfan questionnaire. As a superfan, would this episode be on your must-watch list?
I don't know. Maybe, probably. It's really good. It's very good for Shakespeare in space that's not Shakespeare in space. Like, I think that it's a good use of the small crew. I think that she's fantastic. I think it's a really good, example of how well they use women in particular in ways that aren't just she's for sex. Like, she's a very complicated character, which I like a lot. I don't know, it'd be on my top 10 must-watch list, but yeah, I think it would probably be on there.
No.
Why in the world would it? It probably wouldn't even be on your top 200 list.
I think they're good performances, but again, it made me incensed. I just don't like when I feel like episodes think that I should be dumb. And I think that the Little Italy thing really pissed me off. Like, I should just accept it. Like, it's gonna, just accept it. It's like, no, you have to establish why this is relevant. And it made me mad.
We just recently had the exact same issue, not with you, but concerning how you view Chris Carter's writing with the last 2 episodes, with Nisei and 731.
Yeah.
He wanted the Japanese horrors during World War II to be such a big part of it, but he doesn't go the extra step of explaining why it matters in this episode to his audience.
All of his episodes need like one more scene, and then it would be fine.
I think anyone hearing that would be shocked to hear you say, Chris Carter needs one more scene. Really?
You can cut a different scene that doesn't work. It just needs like, it's just half, it feels half done for how over budget they're always, and how, you know, all of the threads and all of this and all of the references, it always feels unfinished to me, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, that's Chris Carter. I didn't say he was a good writer, just that he wrote my favorite
Ideas
show.
man.
Yep,
like
exactly.
you say.
Yep, exactly. Is this a series-defining moment in this one? I don't know what Scully shooting the door, maybe.
Yeah, that one. What about for TOS?
I mean, Kirk trying to destroy a foe, obviously. It's hard because, again, I don't know what order these are in anymore, but, like,
This is
what...
early season 2. It's the second episode, right after Amok Time.
It feels very series defining for him, generally, to Kirk to be like, you're fucking with my ship and I'm going to fucking murder you. And, like, how do I fix this? Is it a computer we can kill? Like, that feels very true to, like, the ethos of Star Trek, but more than any other episode, I don't know that I would say that.
Yeah. Does this affirm your OTP of Kirk and the Enterprise?
Obviously it does. That's what he's doing there, baby. Let's get this ship back.
No. There's no Mulder. There's no Skinner. There's no one there.
You know, like their gay little moment at the end.
I can see. I mean, again, I've read a lot about fanfic for the X-Files. And I know that there's a lot of lesbian fic between them, and I get it. I get why.
Yeah. I mean, they wrote it specifically to push at those buttons. They knew.
That doesn't bother me.
Not to say one way or another.
Yeah.
They just knew. It wasn't something that, like, fell together.
That feel like, I mean, how many places do that where they're like, let's cater to queer fans specifically? Not a lot. So I think even if it doesn't work, and even if Reyes is a complicated character, I don't like Annabeth Gish as an actor. I haven't watched a lot of season 9. Maybe when I watch it in order, I'll feel differently. I have a lot of complicated feelings because I do feel like, A, it is bad writing. B, she's not a really good actress. But C, I do feel like it is sort of sexist how much everybody hates her, and like the writing of it and stuff. But again, I'm not watching it in that order.
I don't know. I think that it would be an interesting way to watch it with looking for that read. I personally feel like we've talked about this a lot, or you have, like, I think that you would read Diana Fowley in a way that's like a lot more clear-eyed than most people would. And I think that you
I feel like I'm gonna like her.
You are going to like her. I
like
have
I'm really
no
gonna like
bones
her.
about that. You are absolutely going to like her. And I understand that part of it is because there is this like nuanced way to look at her that I personally don't enjoy doing, but like you are like the perfect person for that. But I think that you are taking that to Monica. I think that you're like, oh,
Maybe.
Diana, I'm going to put this on Monica. Monica is actually a very badly written character in like almost every single way.
Oh yeah. And I mean that can be sexist too. Like think about like the character of what's her fuck in Dexter. Like she's not a good actress. That is such a poorly written character, but it is deeply rooted in sexism.
Debbie, his
Oh,
sister.
yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
And I feel like
with Monica, she just seems
it feels the
stupid.
same, where it's like
all the
bad
time.
actress, bad writing, misogyny.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of misogyny with Diana Fowley. I think with Monica, it's a little different because they're like, literally, what can we get to fucking stick to the wall? And I think that she's just a bad character.
Yeah, which is
it
can all exist at once.
I'd never considered the idea that you might get to 9 and actually like Monica. I don't know that anyone does.
I don't think I will like her. I've seen many episodes of her. I just think it's very easy to look at the past and how much hate people put on women characters and be like, this is a poorly written character. This vitriol has a patina of misogyny on it, which I think can both exist.
Yeah, I think you're right. Is this a fuck, fine, or a plop?
Yeah, here we go.
This is a fine for me because the weird thing on it really takes away from it for me.
Man, the fact that you're saying it was could have been a fuck and it's down to a fine. Season 9 win, my friend. That sounds fucking awesome. Hell yes.
Is this a fuck, fine, or a flop for you?
It's like a fine plus. I don't love it. It's not something I'd point to and be like, I'm definitely absolutely watching this, but it's good. It's way better than a fine. It's just not for me personally necessarily.
Also, the title is funny.
Yeah.
Who mourns for Adonais?
All right. You can find us on the internet. Follow us at NYD Productions on Instagram and interact with us using the hashtag #XTrexPod. You can find me at NYD Urgency on Instagram.
You can find me on Blue Sky, Tumblr, and Instagram at Stella Cheeks.
You can find me if you dare. And also, if you are interested for more information about what we're up to, what podcasts we're releasing this month, what things we're reading, watching, eating, screaming, you can subscribe to our monthly newsletter at nydproductions.beehive.com. That's BEEHIIV.com. It was too many E's in my brain for the first part. No, for all of that information and more.
You can also email us at xtrexpod@gmail.com with questions or comments. Do I have a fic where they fuck a god? No. Could I find one? Probably. I do have some where they deal with super religious societies. So, like, close. I don't know. Just tell me what you want.
You don't have a pic where they put Cybok on lock?
I don't want to read about Cybok in a sexual context.
Give me your feelings.
I'm sure
and
it
if you
exists.
want more
You can Google Cybok fic all you like.
I've had an AO3 account for decades as well. It's fine. And if you want more behind the scenes actions like our script notes, outtakes, extra podcasts like unofficial channels and NYD After Dark, and access to our Discord where we list fics and Erin is now reading and doing live reactions to them.
I sure am.
You can check out our free Discord and our Patreon at patreon.com/NYD Productions, where you can get all of that bonus material for only $1 or more.
And don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and to tell your friends. We find that this nerdy shit is better when it's shared.
We'll see you next episode for Oops All Nazis. Relevant.
Yay.
Not yay for Nazis.
No, I mean relevant. Yay.
It's the Twitter episode.
You didn't say in the meantime.
Yeah, but they do walk around a lot without shirts on, and it's good.
They're hotsy-totsy Nazis.
They're hot. No.
We need to end this episode
Kirk and
immediately.
Spock they're put in prison and they take their shirts away, and it's hot.
In the meantime.
Below, but it's not even
No, it's
me.
your line. You won't read it.
In the meantime,
Believe boldly.
Seek truth.
ship proudly.
X-Trex is created and written by Stella Cheeks, Erin Cline, and Bobby Hoffman, and produced by Bobby Hoffman for NYD Productions. Our show theme is Alien Spy by Ionix, and our show art was made by Jonathan Curtis.